the men are in the NCAA championship this afternoon. Shout out to the Long Beach State 49ers. As you see that cut shot there from Schalk.
And Schalk, Canadian, now American.
Hey.
Looking to make it to the Olympics with USA across his chest. And he's got a heck of a blocker in front of him as well. Brunner turned a lot of heads last year with some very improved blocking, and just play in general was very terminal as an attacker and also as a blocker, making some big time moves. I feel like a lot of teams are going to be probably cutting up Phil and Andy.
I think they're going to test their defensive mobility. And, you know, Phil surprised us there early on because he maybe got deep, but the length of Phil able to make up for some of that lack of experience defensively.
Andy Benesh showing his range, the former middle blocker, and what he can do with his arm swing. Andy Benesh
should have been
I was just going to say he was putting on 15 pounds of muscle from last season to this season. I don't know if you remember, but I don't remember Andy Benesh taking off his shirt, but he is this year.
That is impressive, 15 pounds of muscle.
Come on.
And it's showing because he's bringing heat on his swing. And scooping defensively is Benesh. But can't finish the play there.
Andy Benesh played alongside Billy Allen last year. And just like Theo did the same thing, turned a lot of heads in terms of his performance. Now partnered up alongside Nick Lucena. And that was one of the big areas of focus for the offseason, was making sure he was physically prepared as best as possible for this season as he takes another swing.
And that's what the offseason is for, Cam, is to put in that time in the gym, build some muscle, work on things that you can't do within the season. This offseason is time to build strength. In season is time to maintain quickness and speed. So strength being built in the offseason, and you can see Benesh looking a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, but still keeping that speed.
Yeah, he also said, exactly to your point, the speed and more so mobility, also really focusing on opening up those hips. So many of those blockers have to make big dynamic moves, especially at the international ranks, so being able to be in a low position and still able to move and adjust. Still taking some off that serve. Brunner with a swing.
Yeah, between Phil's serve and Andy's serve down the middle, I mean, Kame and Theo are going to have to really dial in their passing, and I think that's why Benesh and Dalhausser has the lead right now here, 9-6.
Ball just out of bounds. Those two take it a little bit slower to get back to their positions. Brunner and Schalk now within striking distance.
The height of Brunner makes that ball go long. And there's a missed serve, so side out there for Phil and Andy.
It's a rarity that Theo Brunner is not the tallest person on the court, let alone the second tallest person on the court. Right now, he's the third tallest, 6'7" for Theo Brunner. And they're going to call that as a double contact. What do you think, Kyle?
It looked a little bit questionable from my angle, and just the sound actually that it made out of Kame's hand. Here we see the replay. And Came not stoked about it, that's for sure. But I think the right call regardless. But the wind picking up, so setting is a bit more challenging here in this wind, even though they are on the good side. That ball's moving, so setters need to be quick with their feet and get stable so they can make really good sets, because every inch counts.
And a net violation on Bill Dalhausser. And it's interesting, a lot of teams have stayed away from Theo Brunner in terms of the side-out game, but they're going after him, and I feel like there's a reason for that. Why is that, Kyle?
What first thing comes to mind is Schalk's got great vision, and he can chop players up a little bit more maybe than Theo. And Theo is a larger player, so as a big, large team like Phil and Benesh, you can match up well against a large attacker where it just evens out the playing field.
Yeah, they don't want to run down those shots from Schalk. It's not playing into their strength, that's for sure. Big swing scoop, Schalk. Looked like a net violation there, and yeah, maybe just a little too aggressive with that move. So Brunner and Schalk, wow, nice little comeback in the beginning of this first set, as they are just trailing by one ball. Here's a look at the last play.
Yeah, Andy catching that net on the way down with those new abs that he's got. So, you know, one of the side effects of putting on some muscle is your body's a little bit bigger. So Andy Benesh, they're trying to dial in, get comfortable with that new body of his. But a good comeback, like you said, Cam, from Brunner and Schalk to get back into this match in this first set here. So only down 1 point.
Well, and I'm not sure you can hear it at home, but the wind is definitely a factor right now, as it's even being picked up on our stadium court mics here. It's about 18 miles per hour at times. There's a look at what we're seeing. Lots of flags flying around, and even umbrellas at times. The definite good side and bad side. Right now, Tame and Theo, wind at their back. Explain how that might change some of the serving strategy, Kyle.
So when you have that wind in your face on the good side, you can be more aggressive with your serves. You can really let them fly, because you know that wind, the ball's going to catch that wind and dive into the court. So more topspin means more movement, more action on the ball. If you're on this side, the bad side, like Kame, if you hit that a little bit too strong, that ball's going to sail on you. So important to identify which side you're on and how you can use that to your advantage. And you see Phil take a rip there.
That's a great explanation. So watch for maybe winning of a certain side, how many points they can score, trying to get 4 of these 7 points. You're feeling pretty good if you're doing that, or even 3 of the 7 points if you're on the bad side. Extended set. Well played considering the wind.
Setters have to be more precise with their setting. You want that ball to touch your platform as long as possible. As you see Kame there put up that bump set for Theo. More contact on the ball equals more control. And Philip Dalhausser there with the lefty option. Maybe he saw Sponsel in this previous match and said, I want to do that too.
And excuse me, I misspoke earlier when I said Andy Benesh was the product of Long Beach State, actually out of USC. What am I thinking? Come on, Cam. Leslie, nope, failed. What an ace for Andy Benesh.
The Trojan hearing his call and getting the ace for you, Cam.
It won't happen again, Andy, I promise. The winner of this will be moving on to the semifinals. This is our winners quarterfinal. And again, showing the range is Andy Benesh, crossbody swing down the line.
Benesh likes to hit that no-look down the line swing. We saw it earlier in this match. I've seen it for the last couple of years. It's getting better and better and so deceptive. It's impressive for the middle blocker to have that kind of range as an attacker.
Game Schalk. Okay, came.
I saw the angle that ball came from. I assumed it was Theo, Andy, and Phil, and that became a big dude.
Came putting a little extra maple syrup on that swing, I think, Cam, and Andy not getting his mitts there in time.
Game Schalk and Theo Brunner already taking down the number 14 and 6 seeds to get to this point. That would have been Rafi Paulus and Jeff Samuels, as well as Billy Allen and Jeremy Casebeer. In straight set. Huge swing, Phil Dalhausser, like a 6-story building.
And I think Benesh said it best. He said, "That's gnarly, Phil." Yes, yes, it was.
Chopping around the block of Phil Dalhausser. We always talk about how good Phil is, but I always am curious in terms of the amount of movement and plays he makes, the read blocks he makes. What it's like to have to face somebody that can make that many moves and adapt on you so quickly.
Towards we go. Dalhausser, now he will serve after the big swing.
When you've blocked over thousands of balls like Phil Dalhausser has, you learn and you refine that skill to a sharp, sharp point. And Phil's got all the movement up there, and he takes up so much space. He's in your head. He owns real estate in attackers' heads. And that is the challenge when you go against Phil.
There's some calls from the crowd here on that set, not liking that ball. Actually, I think it came out halfway, or at least decently clean. I think its finish kind of made it seem like it was worse than it was.
And it's not always, right? It's not always how it looks necessarily. But yes, there was some oohs and ahs in the crowd, and it wasn't because it was a good set.
How about that block? Theo Brunner making a play.
Theo Brunner reminding Phil that he also knows how to block the ball pretty well. As you see this timing here, slowly waiting and swatting that back down. Brunner becoming one of the best blockers in the world, if not already, and definitely one of the best blockers on the American tour.
Yeah, Theo Brunner already 3 wins on the AVP tour, alongside Game Schalk, who has 1 to his name. Let's take a look at the hitting efficiencies. He earned his first AVP title with only in Seattle back in 2019. I believe that was alongside Jeremy Casebeer, the shores of Lake Sammamish. Phil Dalhausser, 59 AVP titles, over 100 career wins.
Stuff of legends, Cam. Stuff of legends here. And how fortunate that we still get to see him play. And 59 wins, and this time we get to see him play some defense. So, man, it is such a treat to have him out here playing, and for all the people watching at home, absorb and enjoy every moment of this.
I wonder what the over-under is for the number of digs Phil was going to have on the weekend for people.
You know, him and Nick had a bet going.
There's got to be one. Andy Benesh is airborne and delivers. Middle blocker turned libero. Are you kidding me?
Anything is possible. Middle blockers at home, right? Look at Andy Benesh here on this run down the full layout, and then gets back up and turns the point. There's no better feeling as a defender, collecting a high line and then hitting one of your own right back at you.
How about that touch and finish? Ball control on display on the side of Andy Benesh.
Me, oh my, Andy Benesh with these touches defensively. I mean, have him and Nick been split blocking in practice? I'm just so confused at why Benesh is digging so many balls.
I love that shot of him split blocking in practice. It's a good one. So you imagine Andy Benesh is out here playing alongside someone like Phil Dalhausser, and just like Billy Allen, he continues to grow, right? That partnership fosters so much energy, so much momentum, the confidence for Andy Benesh to play alongside Phil.
In every practice, every match, Benesh takes a little something from Billy Allen or Phil Dalhausser. Maybe it's the way they see a problem. Maybe it's the way they react to a certain play at a certain time in a match. But those things get absorbed over time, and Benesh is the best sponge out there right now, getting all the best from the best.
Right now it's set point for Benesh and Dalhausser. Oh, with the dig. Are you kidding me? These two are getting weird in Austin.
21-17 for
Benesh and Dalhausser. Defense.
Got a combined 13 feet 6 inches.
The AVP is brought to you by Waikea Hawaiian Volcanic Water. Live Aloha. Drink Waikea at waikea.com. By KT Tape, helping athletes of all levels train longer and finish stronger. And by Monster Hydro, hard charging hydration.
Dear Mainland, aloha. My brother and I hear lots of you have discovered a real Hawaiian favorite, Big Wave Golden Ale. That's the good kind of stuff, yeah, bro. Maybe it's the island flavor that makes each sip taste like a little vacation.
Got your beers here.
That's a whole lot of little vacations right there, huh, brother? That's like a big vacation. Retirement. One life, right? Mahalo. Big Wave Golden Ale from Kona Brewing.
It's safe to say Bill Dalhausser loves playing in front of this Austin crowd. He already has earned 3 titles in Austin, Texas in his career. As you take a look at some of the stats from set number 1 for Bill Dalhausser and Andy Benesh versus Theo Brunner and Schalk. This is in the winner's bracket. The winner moves on to the semifinals. Loser moves on to the contenders. Nice touch from Schalk. And he makes Phil pay for pulling off the net.
Taking a look at those stats, Cam, as we see this replay, this joust here at the net. Good save there from Benesh, but Benesh and Dalhausser have double the digs that Schalk has right now, and they're split blocking.
Bill Dalhausser picked up his first ever title as well here in 2005 alongside Nick Lucena. He won a title the last 16 seasons, at least one. AVP sure, so maybe this is where he gets it done. Theo Brunner. 3 wins to his name, 5 second place finishes. Nice chop shot from Schalk.
There you see the angle defense from Phil and Andy Benesh. Benesh sitting in that line, and how to beat that angle defense? Cut shot over the block. So difficult to run that one down.
And adding some pace, Andy Benesh knows the scouting report against him. He said he had to focus on trying to find some versatility and some range in his offense.
And that comes over time, and more wins, more losses. You learn the areas you struggle on, and it's great for Andy to identify those things, and you're seeing it come to fruition here.
And just out of the reach came Schalk with an additional kill. Schalk with 13 total attempts, 5 kills, hitting just .231 in the match thus far. The efficiencies of these two teams are relatively similar though, 333 and 355.
Yeah, the serving Brunner here most of these balls, but came having a few more attempts because he's digging balls in transition. But yeah, came hitting .231 right now. Need to clean up or pick up those numbers just a touch more and turn a few more in transition. It's gonna give these guys a nice advantage in the second set.
Somehow they get that ball back. Heavy swing again, and right now it just looks like Benesh is swinging as hard as he can.
He looks really comfortable right now, and when you're being super aggressive and you're finding success, you know, you don't need to go away from that. You can keep going back to the well, as they say, and that's exactly what Benesh is doing.
there he earns the block. This time, not able to be defended.
You can only avoid Phil for so long. He will find you. And right there, reaching outside of his body is Phil on that late line block, came thinking that that line was open, and then surprise, there's Phil.
Cutting you up again, came Schalk. They feel like, as a team, Schalk and Brunner have been getting better every single tournament. At least that's according to Came Schalk. Really starting to develop, especially working on the block defense. They felt like their last trip to Brazil, where they picked up a 5th, that was some of the best block defense they've had so far. Danny Benesh comes back with another swing.
And Schalk's absolutely right, because I've been watching their games on the World Tour, and they are playing super high-level volleyball, and it's proving and it's showing, and I think it's team chemistry. They're learning how to pick each other up as they progress in this relationship, and that is paying dividends for this squad. Into the wind, that serve a bit long for Dalhausser.
This is one of the few teams in Schalk and Brunner that did stay together after last season, so they do have a little bit more experience playing together. Two of the veterans on the tour. They told me, hey, we're not going to get any younger and we're not going to get any faster, so we have to play more mentally sound and more strategic than the other teams on the stand.
That is a classic Brunner and Schalk answer there. They do have a lot of fun. They're both dads. I think nothing really affects them too much anymore, but they have a lightness, an ease to the game when they play. And they're a real fun team to train against, not a fun team to play against.
Yeah. It was so fun getting to chat with them. They said, you know, we're sometimes at times watching us a little bit boring. You know, we're not going to be the most emotional. We're not going to be the most up and down, but we're going to be good. And they call themselves almost somewhat robotic, right? Like they making the right decisions at the right times, playing such steady volleyball from the mentality standpoint. Benesh hits another dig. And the second net violation we've seen on Phil.
And they're kind of robotic, Brunner and Schalk. It's because their defense is unrelenting and it's constant,
yeah,
and it's consistent. And when you have to play against it, it wears you down.
Yeah. An ace from Team Schalk. A welcome sight. Some much needed service pressure on the long platforms of Dalhausser and Benesh.
Schalk using that wind to perfection, hitting it right back to where it's coming from, and that's why that ball tails off.
Swinging harder every ball, Andy Benesh.
When you got new guns, you got to take them for a ride. And so that is what Benesh is doing right now. He's having some fun out there, and he's hammering some volleyballs.
And it's interesting too, at times, Kyle, we've seen just in the career of Phil Dalhausser that a lot of the times, Friday and Saturday, maybe he's not as aggressive from the service line. Maybe he goes more with that standing float serve, but he's been ripping serves ever since he got here in Austin. We used to call it going full Phil mode, right? But he's been going Phil mode since he stepped on the sand here in Austin.
And I wonder if the lack of requirement having to run to the net is giving him a bit more energy to be able to hit his serve just over and over again. And Phil turned and burned.
And Andy Benesh says it best. Okay, Phil. step in, dig a ball, transition out, making it look easy, which it's not.
It's definitely not. Not against the block of Brunner.
The long way down to the sand for Phil Dalhausser. There's the pickup. You were wondering when it was going to turn. Wow. You don't have much to say after a swing like that. Still emphatic into the technical timeout.
Another defensive dig for Dalhausser and another detonation there across court on the right side.
You know, these athletes doing such great work, not only on the court, but also off the court. You think of Theo Brunner, who's been doing some work, as he's also now a dad to 2 kids.
Starting at 9 a.m.
He's been coaching as well, getting some of that work in. And he's even writing a beach course right now, an online beach course. So you're going to want to pay attention for that, because you can guarantee there's going to be some really good stuff coming from Theo Brunner. Some of these athletes have great lives in terms of social media. Check him out, Theo Brunner, notorious for being one of the most entertaining there is.
Me?
Theo's got all the jokes, and every time we go to practice, he always has something funny to say. I think he's already deep into the dad jokes, and we love every second of it.
Without a doubt. And he said he's really enjoyed getting more and more into coaching now. He said it's helped him as a player, too. It's maybe attacking different skills and different ways of communicating skills. You have to figure out while coaching and then transferring it over to playing. He's also spent a lot of time studying it. Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, no. The more time you can look at the game in different ways and perceive it different angles, the more you learn, and the more, different things start firing and different things start clicking in your mind, and then you can start adapting to your own game. So it's super impressive that Theo's doing that and be able to take that knowledge and pass it along.
Whereas that guy, Andy Benesh, well, he used to be a financial advisor. And he said, I have the rest of my life to do this. I think I'm going to stick with volleyball for a little bit.
And we are thankful.
Years got him back out on the stand. His good friend, he said he'd been studying for so many months. And Cole said, all right, time to come back out and play. And it has stuck.
Finally, Phil seeing somebody at the same level.
Phil Dalhausser here, putting another dig on the stat sheet. Something he's been yearning for years. Filling up the stat sheet with the digs.
Brunner and Schalk, 14-10.
Brunner and Schalk going to take another timeout here as they trail by 4. You see Jordan Chang is working with Benesh and Dalhausser. He will also be working with Nick Lucena and Andy Benesh moving forward.
Chang, an excellent coach, been working on tour now for a couple years, spent years in the indoor gym, spent years with USA, working, learning, absorbing everything. And he might be young, but he's wise beyond his years. And there has been so much positive feedback from other athletes on tour who have worked with Jordan. And I hope that his success continues, because I think he's a great coach and he's a great dude.
Yeah, it's so funny in talking to Andy Benesh about working with Jordan Chang. He goes, well, he speaks my language, numbers. I understand it, I get it, and I love the analytics of all of volleyball. If you're just joining us, that man right there, 17 kills, that's Andy Benesh. He's playing alongside Phil Dalhausser. And this is the last match of the day here on day 2 of the Austin AVP Open. Thanks so much for joining us on this glorious day. It has been hot, it has been humid, and we're waiting to find out who's into the semifinals on the men's side. Straight down.
Phil Dalhausser, he continues to dig balls and then turn them. I mean, he doesn't get many serves when he's played over the years, so now he's getting opportunities in transition. That is not good if you're a defending team.
Just another reason to call that man the GOAT. Another dig from Phil. Brunner's there though. I don't know how many times can you say, "Are you kidding me?" Somewhere, Nick Lucena is screaming at his television, dying. Everyone enjoying watching Phil Dalhausser play some defense.
Unreal change of direction from Dalhausser there on that dig. And I think I heard Dalhausser say, "Oh, it's not that hard, Nick." Did he whisper that underneath his breath?
That is out to Mounds, and it is 17-10.
17-10.
If Bill Skyballs right now, there's no way.
6'9" and 6'9", 2 dedicated blockers, now split blocking, making it look easy. Everyone asking Phil for a sky ball. You know Phil, he's not doing it yet. If there's anyone that wants to get off his hand right now, it is that man, Phil Dalhausser. He's going to try and stay as efficient as possible.
He's got more volleyball to play, and it is just so impressive. I think that there's just this lightness of Phil and Benesh right now on the court that, you know, hey, we're just split blocking. We're out here having fun. We're competing hard. And then good things happen when you're just kind of feeling light and having fun, which they're having a blast out there.
Heads up, Team Schalk is at the net. Speaking of split blocking.
Don't see that too often. Maybe they're trying to adopt the Benesh Dalhausser tactic here with the split block.
Team Schalk getting a piece of that ball. And as a reminder, guys, we are sizzling here. 100 degrees. So any way these athletes can try and find that extra bit of energy, completely depleted of all resources at this point.
And there's a crispy little line shot from Team Schalk. They got some work to do here, Brunner and Schalk, if they want to get back into this second set, down 5, but they're on the good side now, so just take this a point at a time. See if you can earn some points on the good side.
Taking some pace off, but how about that angle?
And when you take a little pace off like that, it opens up your range, and you're seeing that more and more in the World Tour and the top athletes in the world. That 70% slap, as we like to call it, you can just move it around a bit better.
Hot pocket, Andy Benesh. That ball is still bouncing. It might as well be out of the state of Texas.
Net point.
Everyone asking Phil for the sky ball. It is match point. Not yet. Looking for the side out for the win.
I don't think this was the outcome that most people had on their playbook before this match started.
Don't count out Phil and Andy Benesh. 21-17, 21-14. Benesh and Dalhausser showing everyone how split blocking is done.
Peter Brunner, Ken Schalk, we will see you in the morning. Another chance to make the semi.
Number 2 seed moving on to the semi-final. Whereas Brunner and Schalk, they're going to be working their way through the contenders bracket, trying to assess what just took place.
He's right behind him every single time. Sorry, man. He knows. It's fine. Thank you. He's on it, man.
It has been a phenomenal day here in Austin, Texas for the second day of the AVP Austin Open. Tomorrow we will crown our champions both on the men's and the women's side. Who will it be? Could it be 6'9" and 6'9" Dalhausser and Benesh? Or could it be the women's team, Cannon and Sponsel? We'll find out tomorrow on the AVP Tour.
And thank you guys so much.
Thanks,
Great work,
guys.
Cam.